Hello, everyone. That did not come out near as loud and effective as usual, but it is Sunday night. We are at Bat City, and I am Small Press Shann, here to help you wind down your weekend of a week of great indie and small press comics that we're filling your shelves at all your local comic shops. I'm so excited to tell you all about them, but I have the man behind the camera with me for a little bit today. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great week.
I have so many people might not have ever even seen you on this show. It's been so long since you've been on the front side.
That's weird. I don't need to be here. Shann does such a great job with this. I do all the little camera moves, so that's how you get your little scrolling over the books, which I know people like, so it's necessary. But I can't do it while I talk, because it's all an iPad thing. So.
We can't function. We can't do two things at one time.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But it's been a great week at Bad City, and so I felt like Matt needed to come and be here with me for this part because
we're drinking wine.
We're drinking wine.
What are we drinking? Let's go there first.
Okay, we'll go there first. We are drinking Trapiche, and it's an oak cask Malbec, which we learned recently that Malbecs are made from the Andes Mountains. We researched that on this show. So this is another Malbec that we are trying out. And I've never had one that was specifically like an oak cask, like Malbec. I've had barrel-aged Cab Savs, but not a Malbec before. So curious to see what that is.
It's an oak-aged Malbec.
An oak-aged Malbec.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
It has that smoky finish of an oak cask.
Yeah, which works really well with the Malbec.
Mm-hmm.
Like that tough grape and the oak go nice together.
Absolutely. The thing about the Malbec is they're very tannin heavy, it seems.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, the tannin is the skin of the grape and how many grape skins are in there, which gives it kind of a thicker, weightier, more robust flavor than like the normal sweet, sugary taste of wine.
It says they use French and American oak to do it.
Two oaks.
Two different kinds of oaks.
Dose oaks.
And it's meant to be paired with stews and mushrooms or some classic barbecue. All beautiful things.
Love mushrooms.
I knew you would like that.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very nice. We always get that thing, and you said this a lot on here, that when you drink your second drink, it always tastes a little different to you because your body's not like used to it or something, or your tongue's used to it.
Yeah, so you actually get the flavors and not just that.
Right, let me just drink the whole glass. I'll get back to you.
Right, let me tell you. How it goes.
That's nice, but yeah. So anyway, I'm here.
Yeah, so Matt's here, and we have some exciting news. So, for those of you who are in and around the comic, like fandoms and things like that,
Industry.
You know what San Diego Comic-Con is. It's the oldest running large convention.
It's the Comic-Con.
It's what the term Comic-Con comes from.
Don't they have a license on the name Comic-Con?
They actually have a license on the name Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So it is the Comic-Con when we say that. And it's a big deal every year. And some of the things that they do is they have the majority of the big major industry awards come out of San Diego. There's different art awards and things like that. But the main awards show that they host there is called the Eisner Awards, named for Will Eisner.
The creator of The Spirit.
And was a comic creator for decades upon decades of greatness. And so the Will Eisner Awards are essentially the comic book Oscars. And so they do best writer, best artist, best writer / artist, the Slashy Award.
Is there a book of the year?
There's a book of the year, several different. They break it up by like best ongoing, best new title, best title for kids, best title for teens. So they kind of break it up in all those different categories. They don't do it by genre. A lot of people ask me that, like, do they pick like best horror book? No, it's like best new. It's not even separated like best big two versus indie, which I think that would be really cool to see that someday split to where we could have like a best, like,
because I guess they do best independent film at the Oscars.
Like they have the best short film, I guess, which is how we have best short series. But yeah.
But even these days, I kind of look at comics like, you have Marvel and DC in the way that you may have like Warner Brothers and Paramount or something.
Yeah.
And then you have like these smaller presses, like you would have A24 or something like that, which is kind of like a well-known independent movie studio these days. But A24 movies also get nominated for Best Picture and things like that.
Exactly. So we have all those awards, but there's also one other award, and they go even further. I should say that they do like Best educational book about comics, which is really great. And our wonderful friend of the store, Tim Smith, is nominated this year for Teaching with Comics, which is absolutely fantastic.
Very excited.
I'm so excited for Tim. But so there's so many awards for even things like that. But there's one award each year for the best comic book store in the entire world, not just America, but the entire world. And so stores from all over the globe can be nominated by people in their community, and then the industry evaluates those nominations, narrows it down, and then asks those stores to say, here's what we do. Like, we present to you a video and a binder full of information of all the things we do. And
because people can't travel to 1,000 stores
to
within
see
the
all
year.
of it.
Yeah.
And so those stores turn in that information, and then a panel of 6 industry people review all of that for like 2 months and go back and forth on it. And then they narrow it down to 5 or 6 finalists who get actually put on the ballot for the vote from the industry people who actually were on that panel who picked the winner. And I am very happy and beyond honored and might cry as I say this to say that Bat City is one of the 6 finalists for this year's Spirit of Comics Retail Award at the Will Eisner's at San Diego Comic-Con.
It's the one award that a store can win that's an Eisner Award. There's not multiple different store awards. There is only one a year, and it's called the Spirit of Retail Comics Award. And the
Spirit of Comics Retail Award.
A Spirit of Comics Retail Award? Okay, cool. And they award it to a store that's doing great things to keep the spirit of comics alive. And so, like Shannon said, we're very honored to feel like our store embodies that somehow. So thank you so much. And it's so exciting. And anyway. Yeah.
So anyway, we are flying this Thursday to San Diego because there is an awards ceremony on Friday night
at
Comic-Con. And so we are going to be out this week. We'll be here on Wednesday for New Comic Book Day, and keeping that spirit of comics alive. And then we are going to be flying out Thursday morning to head out for the award show on Friday. It's going to be really amazing. We get to be in the room with all of those amazing people we were just talking about being nominated as Best Writer and Artist and for Best Book and things like that. So I'm probably going to cry a lot. It's going to be amazing.
Elated. That's how I feel. Is elated. That's the only thing I felt for the last couple of days here.
Yeah.
And the way that you get nominated for this is that a great number of people have to nominate your store and say, hey, we believe in this store. And then the store kind of looks into all of the nominations, or the Eisners look into all those nominations. And then they say, yes, these are the nominated stores. And if you're nominated, like Shannon said, you present the stuff to them. The fact that you guys out there, whoever's watching, who nominated us, thank you so much for considering us that we're worthy at all of this kind of recognition. And to us, it just, the fact that we are included in this, it doesn't matter if we win or not. The fact that we have that and that you guys believe in us that much, that makes me want to cry. So
thank you, Bat Fam. We always and forever cannot do this without you. It's the reason we do this.
Absolutely.
And congratulations to all the other stores. And if you're watching this and you haven't checked out the other stores, like maybe you're a Bat Fam member and you don't check out other stores often, or you haven't had a chance, give them a follow and see what they're doing. We've got Zeppelin Comics over in California. They have 2 locations, but it's one social media, so you can follow them. Capes and Cows and Cape and Cows
Comics
in Oakland, California. Blackbird Comics and Coffee in Maitland, Florida.
Which is only an hour and 50 minutes from Bat City, so if you want to see 2 of the best comic book stores in the world in one day, it's just a little drive up the road, as it were.
So easy to do. Mm-hmm. And then there are 2 stores in the UK, Traveling Man Comics and Little Shop of Heroes. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited because it looks like they're going to be possibly able to fly in for the show too, and I'm really looking forward to meeting the UK stores.
I can't wait to meet all of these store owners. Shannon and I just love comic book stores. I'm sure you guys have heard us say that before here in the store. And one of the things that we really like about comics is comic book stores in general. They're just such fun, magical places that you can go to and escape the real world. And it's so cool to be seated at a table with the other greatest comic book stores in the world for the year 2023. And
yes.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I know, it's so amazing. So cheers to you, Bat Fam.
Cheers. Cheers, Shan.
Cheers, Matt.
Anyway, that said, normally on Sundays, we tell you all about every single indie comic that came out that week. We show you the art. Shannon gives you the rundown of where we are in the story and what's going on with it and all the amazing things about that book. And this Sunday is no different from any other. She's going to do exactly that. There's some really cool books out this week, and I am so excited for you to see these. So I'm going to run back there, and I'm going to jump around because, again, I can't do the iPad thing and also be here at the same time. We tried it once. You can go back a couple of months. I'm like this the whole time.
He's like just sitting there on his phone
right, the iPad the whole time. It just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But again, I just wanted to come on and I wanted to say thank you to you guys because, again, running a comic book store would not be anything at all and wouldn't be worth doing if it wasn't for the people who come in and that we get to talk to and speak to and who come in and tell us about the things that they love and the books that they have and the things that they're picking up. And your excitement makes us love the hobby all over again every single day of our lives. And again, I'm going to cry. Thank you.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh. If you cry, I cry. All right, I'm going to slide over so I can reach the books because my arms are short. So, there we go. All right. So, like he said, I'm going to tell you about all the small press and indie comics out this week, and there are a ton of great ones. Every week I say, this is a great week for comic books, but if you didn't know, it's just a great time to be a comic book fan because we've got so many good comics coming all the time. So I'm going to kick it off. We're going to count it down to new number ones, and I'm going to kick you off with Dark Ride, issue 7, and this is from Images Skybound Imprints. And Joshua Williamson, who you may know if you're reading any of the Dawn of DC titles, because Joshua Williamson is kind of holding that, over umbrella of all of that together. So this is such an awesome book for all of my Disney fans out there. If you haven't checked this out, this is the crossover point of Disney and horror for everybody in the world who's always wished to see both of those together. But so far, this has been the story of a family who is headed up by essentially a man who is very much Walt Disney, who wanted to own a theme park. And instead of the happiest place on earth, it's the scariest place on earth. And he's created just that. And now his children, Samhain, who goes by Sam, and Halloween, are kind of having to take over that mantle. And Sam, who's been running the park for the most part, while Halloween goes out and does whatever she wants, has recently come in contact with a woman who swears her brother was an employee at the park and was killed in the park. And the park has kind of covered it up because, nobody dies at theme parks in that way. And as they've done their own investigation, we are slowly learning a little bit more, not only about the park, but about Dante, who is the father, Arthur Dante, who owns the amusement park, and the history of the kids and their mother, and Dante's nefarious plans. And if you have not picked this up, there is a volume 1 trade paperback available right now. And then you can jump in. I think this is issue 3 of the new arc. So if you didn't get into it yet, it's fine. You can still jump in. And it's so great because there's a really cool map of the theme park in the back of the volume 1 trade, which I just love because I'm a sucker for maps, especially theme park maps. So read this. Joshua Williamson killing it like he does everything else. You're gonna love it. Up next, we have Immortal Sergeant issue 7, also from Image Comics, and this is the story of an old man who is a police sergeant. He's actually a sergeant and detective sergeant actually. And he's on his last day. He's retiring, and his son comes to town and is supposed to be, I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't say anything terrible on here before I do this, because he is an awful person and he says some really mean things. Okay, so he has been retiring, and the son comes to town. They have a hateful relationship between them. This is one of those, the son feels like no matter what he does, he can never amount to what his dad is looking for. And he is going through this, and he's investigating this this murder mystery that he never solved. Like, he doesn't feel like he can retire until he figures out what happened to this young girl that was murdered. And over the course of the 7 issues, we've learned a lot of the backstory and why he has a problem with his son and the connection that it has to this murder investigation that he's been doing. But this kid is just completely unable to win his dad over, and the dad ends up kidnapping his own son and making him go on a continued investigation post-retirement with him. And they're kind of forced into a buddy cop story, except there's not a lot of humor, and there's a lot of emotional trauma getting unpacked between these two as they go on. And I know that this is going to come to a point where we see a really, really heartfelt ending in some capacity. And the end of this issue just really started to set up something tragic happening that's going to make us get to that point. And I'm already like, I don't even like most of these characters. I think they're all terrible people, but I also don't want anything bad to happen to them. So here we go. I'm just warning you now. Up next, we have Eternus, issue 6 from Scout Comics. This has been flying out after those delays. You know, issue 1 came out right before Hurricane Ian last year, so it's been almost a year since this launched. And then we had a little bit of delay between that and like the 2 and 3, and now we've just had one like every other week, almost every week. But this is the story of somebody has murdered Zeus, and it's at the time when the Greek and Roman gods are being pushed out for the new god, who they call the one God, the one being Jesus, and they're having to deal with the fact that that's kind of taking over what everybody in their religious spectrum feels. And so somebody has murdered Zeus, and they're kind of like, who could have done this? And they're going against all these different people, and it's up to Hercules to figure it out. And he has a young girl who he quickly learns is actually a Gorgon, much like Medusa, who's helping him along the way. And they find out that it's not the people that they would have thought it was, but there may be more to this story. And as we unfold each chapter, we actually learn a little bit more every time about where this is going. I'm actually going to pull this cover open because it wraps around. I mean, it's really cool. But they learn a little bit more about who they can and cannot trust every issue. And if you know anything about Greek mythology, the answer is nobody. You can trust nobody. And please don't come after me, Greek gods, for saying that, but we all know that it's true. So it's been a wild ride for sure with this book, and I really love this little Gorgon girl, and I just want her and her snakes to live happily ever after, as they should. But up next, Emma Kubert's Stoneheart, issue 5. This is from Image Comics as well, and the fantastic Emma Kubert. She's such a great artist and such a good storyteller, and I love that we're getting to see a little bit of both of those again in this book like we did in Inkblot. This is the story of a young girl who is known to be the best paladin in this entire fantasy world. But the problem is that she has an attitude and doesn't want to listen to any kind of authority. And so she won't do the magical training that she needs to take on in the way she needs to take it on. And she's reckless and wild. And so they basically wipe her memory and send her to live in the village below and think that like she'll be hidden there and it'll be fine. But the thing is that she's reckless and doesn't know how to control her magic, and she now doesn't even know she has it. So she starts to show signs of this magic, and a dark sorceress type woman and her team of people find out, and all the bad guys come in and they try to take her on, and she is forced into some servitude with them, except she has a little bit more control over it than they even know. And now that's kind of starting to get unfoiled as their plan isn't working. And we're going to see where this is going to lead us, because there's a lot of danger up ahead. And she doesn't know how to fight it, and she doesn't know who she is, and she's been hearing this voice the whole time that we don't even know who it is. And so it's like, where is this going for her? Is she going to end up reckless and in danger, or is this going to be like this moment where she comes to her power that is just this beautiful moment? Who knows? I honestly can't tell, but I absolutely love this character, and I want her to have all of the adventures forever and ever. Up next, Nervous Rex, issue 5 from It's Alive. This is a reprint of comic strips about a T-Rex who lives with his wife, who is another dinosaur, and he's a nervous Rex. He's not able to do anything because of all of his different fears and anxieties and things like that. And of course, he's supposed to be the king of everything because he is a T-Rex, and his wife is very angry for the fact that he doesn't live up to expectations. And so we get all of those classic comic strip style hijinks of like a Hagar the Horrible and things like that, except with a little bit more adult storytelling and language sometimes in there. But if you are a fan of classic comic strip humor, you're going to love this. And in the first one, we saw Rex's wife, Dearie. She swallows a fly and she starts panicking and freaking out. So Rex is like, oh, maybe Dearie's afraid of flies. So he dresses up like a giant fly to scare her, thinking he's going to like win his peace of mind. And Dearie convinces herself she's no longer afraid of flies, and comes out to beat down the first fly that she sees, and of course it's Rex in costume. And then our second story is about Rex supposed to be keeping some pies safe for Dearie while she goes to the store, and of course he gets convinced that the pies aren't safe where they are, so he keeps trying different places to move them, and classic comic humor and hijinks ensue from there. So you always get 2 or 3 different stories, and then we've been starting to get these other comic strip backup stories in the end as well from other characters. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend for those pulpy comic strip fans to pick these up. And it's anthology, it's kind of style, so you don't have to pick up anything else. You can grab whichever one you see that looks interesting to you. Second Coming Trinity, issue 4 from Ahoy Comics, and this is technically, as the Trinity would imply, volume 3 of Second Coming from Mark Russell, Eisner-nominated Mark Russell for Best Writer and a couple of different books. Super excited to sit next to you in a room, sir. It's going to be great. But Mark Russell has done something amazing with Second Coming. It is the story of Jesus coming to live with a superhero named Sunstar, who is very much like Superman, married to his own Lois Lane. And in this story, they have been wanting to have a kid. And over the course of the last 3 volumes, we are now at the point where they have a kid, and Jesus is one of their babysitters. And it doesn't really go very well. And in this issue, we see Sunstar kind of going back and looking into his own past and kind of trying to figure out who he is and where he came from and different things like that. He's always been raised by his grandma, and who's kind of the Martha Kent of it all. And she hasn't told him much except that his parents died in a car accident and different things like that. And as he goes into the place that used to be his childhood home, he takes a remember all potion kind of thing, and he is able to learn what it is that actually happened and kind of figure out like that people like him are always going to be a threat to the people that they love. And so this guilt and this danger that he feels rising up inside of him, he feels might be there in his son as well. And this is kind of having that conversation of like generational curse and like what we want to be and what we are able to be being 2 different things. And of course that parallels with Jesus' story and his own problems with his own dad. So it's such a great book. Deep Cuts, issue 3 from Image Comics, and Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark, who have been, Kyle Higgins we all know from the Massiveverse, and so I always like to say this is not connected to the Massiveverse in any way, shape, or form. So Radiant Black fans who don't need this, but you should read it anyway, and non-Radiant Black fans, don't worry, you can jump in and not be confused. What it actually is stories of music culture, specifically jazz music culture from throughout American history. And so in this one, we're in the 1940s, in Kansas City. And it's the Kansas City Blues is our theme. And we are seeing the story of a young girl whose mother and father just had another new baby, and they're struggling to make ends meet. And she just wants to read comics that are detective stories and learn how to be a detective like the boys in her stories. And she sees that her dad, who's always working, gets really sad whenever he sees like his upright bass. And she just kind of wants to figure out what it is about music and why he loved it so much and why he stopped playing. And as she's doing some investigating, she starts to learn a lot about her dad's past and his musical career. And she sees her dad get offered a new position with a great and wonderful opportunity with a big band. And she kind of sees her family struggle and fight about that between her parents and different things. And it's just one of those great things, because as kids, we always wonder, like, well, why, like, my parents never did anything before me. You know, you always think, like, well, parents are just parents. They're boring. And then you start to learn a little bit about their past, and you're like, wow, my parents did some really cool things. And you never really get those full stories. And one of the things he says is, you know, instead of being a detective, why don't you just ask me? And she's like, I didn't know if you would tell me. And so you just get this beautiful moment of him learning what his real dream for his life is and what he wants to do and how he wants to get there. And him, also his daughter, learning like parents are people too and what family means to her. And it's just such a beautiful story, and it's all done through music.
Are they all one-shots?
They're all one-shots. None of them connect. They're all different years in different cities throughout American history. All right, we've got Star Signs, issue 3 from Image Comics. This is our newest like zodiac kind of gods book. For those of you who might have been fans of something like Wicked and Divine, this is a great one to pick up. This is the story of the constellations disappearing. And all of the different zodiac signs had a power that have now been embedded inside of a different person on the planet Earth. And we have been following a couple of different people. One is a girl who was given the power, like the powers of Leo, and she's got Aries with her, and they are the people fighting against the other people who are Cancer and Taurus and a couple other different signs. And they're all given different things, like one can stop time, one can shapeshift, one has super strength, one, you know, just all different things that are kind of representative of the characteristics of those constellations and those star signs. And there is supposed to be some kind of great war coming somehow, and it's still kind of building up. We're still piecing it all together because the people who know are the bad guys, quote unquote, in the story. And so the good guys that we're following don't actually know anything about what's going on. So as readers, we're kind of a little bit lost with them, but we are slowly trying to figure out like why we're against these people and what it is that's going to happen and whether or not the stars can ever return. So it's a really fun adventure story, and I always like it to see if I can guess which star sign like each person's going to be before they actually like get named by that particular sign. I'm like, ooh, do I know which one this one's leading to? And it's always fun to just kind of guess. Ghost Lore, issue 3 from Boom Studios. This is Cullen Bunn's newest Boom title, and this one's a great one for all of you like classic ghosty fans, because you're actually going to get a lot of ghost storytelling in that early, especially that early issue 1. Issue 1 felt like the most classic ghost story I've seen, with a family all kind of fighting with each other. Like daughter doesn't want to talk to dad, who's the preacher, and mom and him are fighting about it, and then they ends up getting in a car, and there's a car accident, and that kind of leads us to our story. So you get your little classic ghost story leading up to this mom or this daughter and dad having the ability to see ghosts. And what do you do when you can see ghosts? And we see at the very beginning of this issue a woman who uses it to make money by, you know, being a fortune teller and a medium and calling people back from the dead. And we see where that kind of leads her. But then, you know, we've got these two people who are very new to it, and one who's a minister, And he is instantly like, oh, you're demon spirits, get away from me, and kind of just sends them off, like, and tries to destroy them. And in this issue, his daughter is like, hey, I thought you were supposed to help souls. Like, why aren't you actually trying to do that? And so in this issue, she's really trying to help him see how he could possibly be somebody who could help spirits instead of hurting them or pushing them away. And so they're also kind of building new ground to stand on for the two of them as the story goes on because of that, because now they're going to have to come to this understanding between the two of them of how their communication doesn't work. And I love that balance of how that storytelling is working out. So if you're looking for just a good family horror story, this is definitely going to be a good one. Astrobots, issue 3 from Whatnot Publishing. If you're super excited about Transformers coming back to comic books in October and you cannot wait for that moment to happen, you could pick up Astrobots to hold you over, because this is honestly just a really great Transformers under a different name comic book. So this is, like I said, issue 3. And so over the last couple issues, we've learned about this Apollo unit who has been on his own in this world of robots. And basically all humans have been cryo-frozen and robots have been sent to build a better world for us to prepare for our arrival. And not many humans remain, but the ones that do, I should say, are cryo-frozen. And over the course of time, they've built this better world. But guess what? Now robots have, without us even being involved, have already lost sight of the goal of protecting humans in some capacity. And so this one Astrobot, who's an Apollo unit, is like, hey, this isn't going well. I've come here to, like, just to make sure you guys know that, like, bad things are happening in other parts of the planet. And they're like, oh, we are actually, like, forming a rebellion here because bad things are happening here with our lead guy in charge. And then we find out in this issue, we finally find out what lead guy in charge has been doing, and it's crazy. And I was like, I need some popcorn to chew on while I watch this, because it's just got intense, and I can't wait to see what happens in issue 4, because the lead up for that is amazing. The turn of this book, I was like, ooh, let's do this. Where are we going? I didn't think that that's what we were going to do. I knew we were going to be robots, like, against humans, but I didn't know this was actually what you were going to do instead. And such a great storytelling mechanism for this book. Grab Astrobots, Transformers fans. You're going to love it. It's right up your alley. And they even have names like them. So you got to grab it. Nominated for Best Limited Series this year at the Eisners, as well as Best Painter and Multimedia Artist, is Animal Castle, Volume 2, Issue 3 from Ablaze. The whole series is nominated for those things, not just this issue, but that is where we are. This is not surprisingly nominated for Best Series of any kind. This is such a fantastic book. If you are a fan of Animal Farm and you've never read Animal Castle, go out and grab Volume 1 immediately, because you're going to need it. Animal Castle picks up where Animal Farm left off, where after we have destroyed the pigs who are running the farm, the bulls take over, as well as the dogs, and now we're living in a castle that they've built. And of course they're just as bad, because we learn in Volume 1, if you fight a rebellion based on who's the strongest, you end up giving the new strongest person the power. And so you always have a cycle of being stuck under somebody's thumb. And we have been learning what a peaceful rebellion can really look like, and how we can win one of those in this story so far. And just the things that they have done, these poor animals, to try to sacrifice to make their point and to save their families and themselves, has just been amazing. And you'll think that, like, oh, they won't go that far with this story because it's cute little animals, and you would be wrong. There's so many sacrifices that have been made. It's absolutely gorgeous artwork. It's fantastic storytelling. This is one of the best books out there. And again, perfect companion to Animal Farm if you are a reader who just loved that book. If you're a teacher who teaches Animal Farm, grab Animal Castle for those who may want to go further, or for those who may need the visual learning element to add to it. But great supplemental story to that, and just absolutely phenomenal comic overall. I'm going to take another drink before I jump into number 2s. And also, thanks for bearing with my inability to speak loudly. Cat Fight issue 2 from IDW. This was such a fun first issue, and issue 2 didn't disappoint. This is the story of a dude who's probably like in his 20s, and he comes from a notorious crime family. And he's kind of wanted to like make his own way, but also like be a cat burglar. In issue 1, he's kind of done that, except he's ended up in debt to everybody. And one of the people that he is in debt to, the debt gets paid off by another mysterious person, who then frames him for the murder of his grandmother, who is the head of their household. And now he is on the run. And everybody in the crime world loved his grandma. She was the greatest person like in the crime industry. And so every person out there is coming after him, and he's like, who put this hit on me? Like, why are people blaming me? I didn't do this. And he can't find any allies because he's always wanted to make his own way. So he's got nobody like on his side. And everywhere he goes, things just get worse. But he's got this like one message from his grandma in his mind that's just like, if you ever lose me, you can find me in Paris. And so he's trying to make his way to Paris so that he can hopefully figure out what it is that his grandma meant by that. And he's working his way there, and the adventure that you have as you're making that journey with him is just so much fun, with all the different people that come after him and all the great cat puns that come into this book. I just want to like applaud them so much, because there's so many good ones. So check it out if you haven't read it yet. It's so good. Black Demon Tales issue 2 from Scout Comics and their Chispa imprint, which is their new Latinx imprint. This is going to be there's a Netflix movie, Black Demon Tales, I think it's Netflix, that may already be out or is coming out soon, that this correlates to. And so this just kind of gives us some of the history of the Black Demon, which is one of my favorite creatures, a giant shark. Guys, I couldn't sleep the other day, and I watched The Meg like I hadn't seen it before, and I cheered at all the ridiculousness over and over again. So I love giant sharks. And in this particular issue, so far it's been kind of an anthology. The first one showed us about a young girl whose parents were explorers looking for the Black Demon. This is taking us back even further to a guy, to an ancient society that worshipped the Black Demon, and the woman who was like the shaman or the sorceress or whatever you want to call her in that town, who was overseeing, in charge of calling this creature whenever people would come and attack them. And in it, she ends up having to pass that on to someone else. And so we are hearing his story about that whole concept of this cursed fate of being tied to this Black Demon for forever, as that happens. It's so cool because I just really like sharks. Also, you have to know most of this issue is in Spanish. So if you don't know Spanish, get ready to translate it, because there's a lot of Spanish in this book. They do translate most of it, I think. I think they actually have translations for most of it, but just know that there's going to be a lot that you may need to, if they don't have a translation, be prepared to look some of that up if you don't know Spanish. But also giant sharks. So cool. So anyway, Black Demon Tail. I'm like choking now, I'm sorry. But it's so cool. I love sharks. I'm going to take a drink just to help me not choke. Ooh. All right. We've got a couple more number 2s before we get to some conclusions. Thank you, sir. Up next, we have In Hell We Fight, issue 2 from Image Comics. This series seems like it's just going to be a lot of fun. It is about a bunch of kids who have all been killed in different ways and are now living in hell. And in issue 1, we found out like how one of them was killed, and he was killed in a very tragic way, but also was afraid of frogs and hated them, and they were all a part of it. And now he like throws up frogs for the rest of forever, and he hates it. So in issue 1, they all heard about an ice cream truck that was coming by, and they were like, hey, there's an ice cream truck in hell. This is crazy. Like, we've got to stop this ice cream truck and steal it for ourselves so we can have an adventure, but also have ice cream. And it turns out wasn't ice cream in the back. There was actually an angel who had been kidnapped. And they were like, well, crap, what do we do now? So their little ringleader of their group is like, well, I think we should ransom this angel. Like, we should keep her and we should do this. And so now the kids are kind of all trying to figure out like what they're gonna do. We get a different one of the characters' backstories this time, and it's kind of like Kill Bill-esque almost in the way that they do the storytelling. So it's kind of funny, but it's kind of awesome. But these kids are gonna have a crazy adventure, and so it's kind of like one of those like Goonies kind of stories, but with or Stand By Me, or any of those like tag team kids, even Sandlot, tag team kid stories, but they're all already dead and they're all in hell. So it's like, what could possibly go wrong? Apparently everything. So if you're looking for a fun adventure, this is going to be a good one. Haunt You to the End, number 2 from Image Comics, Top Cow. And of course on art we have Sarasota local, Andrea Moody. So issue 2. This is the story of, as Earthlings, we have destroyed the Earth, shocking to no one, and climate change it's starting to take over everything. And so there's not really a lot of water anymore and different things like that, and people don't really believe in the afterlife. And one guy is like, I have to prove that there is an afterlife and that we need to be good stewards of the things that we have, so that like maybe if we don't save this earth, like at least people will be better people while they're here. And he's like a super billionaire, so he hires a team featuring a reporter who is kind of defunct. Nobody believes anything, like nobody really wants to hire him anymore because he always goes too far with his stories, and one of them being about this billionaire who he hates. And so the billionaire's like, well, I'm gonna hire you, and then you can be stuck. Like, if you can be stuck with me, and if you prove that I'm not lying, that there is an afterlife and there are ghosts and things like that, then people will have to believe it because everybody knows that you hate me. And so they go to this island that will only exist for like 54 more hours before like it will be completely destroyed. I guess water is like gonna cover it, so I guess water is taking over, not evaporating. Reverse what I said the first time. Anyway, the planet is disappearing. Water is taking over. Nature's taking our planet back. And so they only have like 50 hours left. And so they go to this island, and it's like completely haunted, and weird stuff starts happening immediately. And they're stuck there for possibly forever because they had some rough turbulence trying to get like down there. So like, who knows if they're even going to get off this island? But if they don't get off there in like the next 2 days, they're all going to die. But at least, hey, maybe there's some ghosts, so we can prove that there's an afterlife. It's going to be creepy and crazy, and Andrea's art is just so perfect for stories like that because he's so good at shadowing things in a way where you're like, I don't know what that is and I'm terrified. It's going to be great. Sins of the Salton Sea, issue 2 from AWA. This is starts out as like that perfect like heist movie. The older brother comes in to the other brother and is like, hey, I know you got out of the biz, but like I'm still in the biz and I need you to help me get out, and I just need like one last job. Like, can you help me out? And of course the brother's like, I don't do this anymore. And he's like, but for me, bro. And then they go on the mission, and in issue 1 they do this mission, and it goes completely and totally wrong. And as far as we know, like pretty much everybody dies except for the brother who didn't want to go on the mission in the first place. And so he ends up finding out that there's not even money in the thing that they're attacking, but there is a woman and her daughter not her daughter, her son, a woman and her son, and now he's kind of taken them in, and he's like, look, I just want to return you to wherever you came from so that I can get, like, out of here and be done with this, and, like, my brother's dead, and I don't want anything to do with you. But we find out the other side of the story, and so we actually see who this woman is running away from and what actually happened to the brother as this builds up to be a classic, like, Jason Bourne kind of Taken kind of story. So if you're looking for a good, like, spy action thriller, this is going to be a great one for you. And we're only on issue 2, so now is a great time to jump in. Plus, there's going to be something mysterious in there because we do know that, like, the Salton Sea is known for weird stuff and crazy things that have happened. So this is going to be something that there's going to be more to that story than just the standard, we've got your brother, you've got my wife, let's make an exchange. And things get crazy in this issue real fast. So jump in. All right, we got some books ending this week. I can't believe some of these books are ending already. First up, Great British Bump Off. This is issue 4. It's from Dark Horse, and this is the end of a book that I could have read forever. So cute. It's the Great British Bake Off meets Agatha Christie, and it was absolutely adorable. So good. This is exactly that. I don't even need to tell you anything else. That was the whole thing. It stars a group of people who come in to be on essentially the Great British Bake Off, and on their very first day in the tent, somebody is poisoned and possibly murdered, and they're gonna shut the whole show down. And one of the girls is like, "No, don't do that. Not only am I an amateur baker, but I'm also an amateur detective, and I can totally solve this murder and keep us all on the show." And they're like, "Okay, fine. Like, what do we got to lose? We need the show to happen." And so over the last few issues, she has been trying to solve the murder. Some other people get poisoned, other things happen. But in that classic Agatha Christie wrap-up, like, it seems like she has no clue what's going on. And then they're like, "All right, we just have to end this right now." And she's like, "But wait, I have it all figured out." And just tells you everything, a la Sean Spencer on Psych, where you're like, there's no way you didn't just pull that out of your butt. And the fact that you got that right is beyond belief. And I love watching the big reveal, and honestly, I really did just want to go back and watch all of Psych after watching this, because it was so comedically done, and there's no, I have no idea how she pieced that together, but I don't care, because it was perfect. This is wonderful. Hellboy in Love, issue 5 of 5, The Key to It All, from Dark Horse Comics. Hellboy, he's been on an adventure, and he's always on new adventures. He's doing things all the time, but we see so many books from the Hellboy universe that don't have Hellboy, and I'm always excited when we find some here and there that do. But he has been dealing with some different investigations over the course of this, and they've been trying to find this one skull that is known to be the key to translate all dark materials. Every sorcerer's book, everything can be deciphered by this one stone. And they end up in this issue, being told, they might have a lead on where it is. And so Hellboy and his girlfriend, at the moment, who he's in love with, they go out to investigate this. And there is, of course, drama and intrigue and mystery and attacks and classic demons and things like that you would expect from Hellboy. And then it's like, oh, well, this didn't necessarily work out the way that I wanted it to, but guess what, Hellboy? I love you. And Hellboy's like, I love you too. And, sets up some more fun adventures to happen for Hellboy and this lady love of his. And I just really, I can't read Hellboy without hearing Ron Perlman's voice. I don't know. I didn't see the new Hellboy movie with David Harbour from Stranger Things. I was going to say Black Widow, but sure.
Yeah.
From Stranger Things. I haven't seen it yet, but I really kind of want to, and I know there's lots of, like, negative reviews about it, but I kind of want to, because I would like to hear how somebody else makes Hellboy's voice sound, because, again, in my head now, it's just always going to be Ron Perlman, and I need to be able to make my own voice for this character as I read it, but that's just not happening. I don't know. But if you saw the new Hellboy and you had a good opinion of it without spoilers, please tell me, because I would love to hear somebody who just was like, it was a fun movie, say it was a fun movie. And then tell me if I should watch it. All right, also wrapping up this week is Joseph, 1957. This is issue 2 from Comics Experience Publishing. This is the story of the space race and America versus the Soviets trying to get there, but specifically focused from the Soviet side on Joseph, a giant ape that they were going to send out. And in issue 1, we saw the training of Joseph and his trainer, who saved him from the Congo and brought him to be trained just to be like a regular ape who could learn sign language and things like that. And then they forced him into the space program because they were trying to get there faster than the Americans. And his trainer is killed, and so that they can get him on this space shuttle. And he has this tragedy. And so now he's a very angry ape, and he is in space. And he is stuck with, as we learn in this issue, a bunch of other people that the Soviet Union has been trying to get rid of, all on this spaceship. And this ape is like, hey, I hate all of you, you hate me, let's fight. And then it's like, or maybe we realize that we all hate these people more, and they kind of like build their team against the people who have wronged them. And we kind of see Joseph kind of build out his new crew for his trip to space, but also to go back and take back what should have been his safe space all along. So if you're into the space race and just like alternate retellings of things like that, this is just one of those really cool ones for that. And then last ending of the week is Lamentation, issue 3 from Oni Press and Colin Bunn. This has been such a cool story. I really like the way they did this. This is about a girl who is young and a young actress who wants her big break, and she ends up answering a call that is like, oh, come be a part of the show. And she shows up, and she doesn't even read in lines. They're like, you're perfect, you're hired, you start right now. And she realizes very quickly that she can never leave. Once you're there, you can't leave. You're all stuck there forever, and you must build this production. And nothing never happens, and they keep telling her, like, once we do the production, we'll all be free to go. We'll all be able to live our lives. And as they're doing the show, they see that things start to change and morph, and people who try to escape, bad things happen to them, and people who reveal too much information, bad things happen to them. And so it's like Phantom of the Opera on steroids, kind of, because like you've got this Phantom type character, but he is really like got you all trapped in the theater, and you're not gonna ever leave. And in issue 2, they suddenly got the queue that they were supposed to go on, and they were like, what are we doing? Like, we don't even know, like, do we know the play? Is this right? And so they've been, issue 3 is all of them performing this play, hoping that at the end they're going to get to leave. And I really like the way Cullen wraps this up. And I wanted to say that specifically because I know that's one of the things that we've said a lot on this show, is that like sometimes we get to the end of these books and we're like, oh, it was great until that last issue, and I'm not really sure how I feel about the way Cullen wrapped it up. But I'm here to say I really loved the way Cullen wrapped this up. That was such a perfect ending for this story, and I can't tell you why, because I want you to come read it now. It's only 3 issues. grab all 3, and then come back and talk to me, because this is one of my favorite storytelling mechanisms that he used on this story, and I'm so glad he did, because nothing else would have worked for this story, and so he nailed it. I almost just put this in my picks of the week just so that I could talk about how proud I was of the way he ended this. Such a great job. So way to wrap that up, Cullen. Kudos, dude. You did it. And they're all oversized issues. They're all like 48 pages or more. So it's, and there's like, it's Oni Press, so there's not ads in between. It's like actually 48 pages of pure comic.
So it's like a 6 issue.
So it's like a 6 issue thing. Like the same way like the Comixology or the Substack books have been coming out. It's like that size, but yeah. All right, launching. We're going to start with the one-shots first. Death Comes for the Toy Maker. This is from Scout, and it's a non-stop. Which means that this trade is probably going to be out perfectly before Christmas, which totally makes sense because the toy maker is Santa Claus. This is that Christmas horror book, though, so that's my favorite. Christmas is about horror. I really love Christmas horror stories. I think that some of the best, I mean, come on, Dickens, Christmas Carol, like the one of the best, most accepted Christmas stories of all time is a horror story. It was meant to be a horror story. But so this is about essentially Santa Claus kind of person, and once a year he has to take over for the Grim Reaper. That's their deal that they've made. The immortality that he gets to be Santa Claus comes with the fact that one day of the year he has to fill in for the Grim Reaper and go take his list. And so basically they take the good list, the naughty list, and then there's the death list. And so Santa goes out one day and is doing all of his killings, and he hates it. He hates that he has to do this every year. He's so mad. And I love the setup for this, because he's looking at his list at the very beginning, and he's checking all of his names twice, as Santa does, and he does all of the things that the Grim Reaper has him set up to do. And we do get to see like the backstory of where both Santa and the Grim Reaper come from, but we get to see he goes and he does all these killings, and then when he's checking his list towards the end, he sees some names that have changed, and he is like, this is your fault. And it just becomes this like knockdown, drag out battle between Santa and the Grim Reaper. And this is a nonstop. So this is like chapter 1 of a trade paperback. Like, when we know that the whole thing's coming. So I have no idea, because this could have been a one-shot. This could have been perfectly wrapped up at this issue, and the fact that you're like, hey, there's a whole trade of this coming, I'm like, give it to me now. I want to know what else is going to happen, because Santa is real mad at Death, and Death is real like, deal with it, Santa. So I want to know what changes we're going to see in Santa Claus as this comes out. And Christmas in July, man, right here. This is, if you're a Christmas in July kind of person, but you're also like, hey, July 4th has happened, it's now spooky season, bam, nailed it. Cross lines right here. Death Comes from the Toy Maker. Astro and Inez, La Novella. This is a one-shot from Comics Experience. So I've been waiting for this book for a really long time. This is one that a couple of people have asked me for this year, and it just kept getting pushed back, so I'm so happy it's here. But this is one of those books where the writer said, I never saw myself in a comic book, so I did the only thing I could think of, and I wrote a comic book about myself. Essentially, like, I wrote a comic about a person like me, and that's exactly what you should do. If you feel like you're not represented in literature, like, write some literature and get it out there. This is a book that does have a lot of Spanish that is not translated, so if you do not speak Spanish, just know that you're going to need to be ready to translate, and you want to, because it's so good. It's such a good story. But this is all about a girl who has a dog named named Inez, who has a dog named Astro, and Inez and her partner break up, and she's like, oh, this is terrible, like, it's been months, I'm miserable, like, why did we break up, why is it so stupid, like, but at least I have cute little Astro. And then we see her go out to like get some like take Astro out. He wants to go for a walk, and we see the neighbor, Elena, out there walking, and Astro kind of attacks her. And Inez is like, oh, you bought that wine I told you about. And Elena's like, yeah, you wouldn't shut up about it. So of course I did. And Inez is like, oh, I hope you enjoy it because I really love it. And Elena's like, well, why don't you take it back to your house then and invite me over? And so that's like the lead-in for their first, date. And then everything after that, we actually watch 3 different points from their lives as they grow together, like a date, like a camping trip. We see them go out to different, like another like date and different things. We see it go through their lives. And then in the last, and I love that one, Astro's favorite penguin is all kinds of destroyed his favorite toy. And they're like, we have to get rid of this toy. It's destroyed. So when they leave, Astro like opens up a bunch of paint and different things and like pours it all over his penguin so that maybe they will think it looks nice and pretty and it's so cute. And then we see Inez and Astro go through a fun little story where they, I'm not going to show you that page, where they decide that they want to propose to Elena and are hoping to win her hand in marriage. And it's so cute. It's just such a fun, happy book, slice of life, perfect. If you are an animal lover and you know that your animal is a part of your family and you love to see them be cute and adorable and a part of your relationship, you need to read it. It's so cute. It doesn't even matter what kind of animals you like. You're going to like it. We have Svengoolie, Lost in Time. And this is a one-shot from Frank Miller Publishing, which was a complete surprise to me until I read the letter at the back. I learned that Dan Zadio is a huge Svengoolie fan, which was also a complete surprise to me. So is Mark Hamill, apparently, which makes sense. That one checked out. But I was really surprised to learn that Dan Zadio was a huge Svengoolie fan. So Chicago TV personality. Let's start there. If you don't know who Svengoolie is, he is a Chicago TV personality. Matt, how much did you watch Svengoolie?
I thought he was nationally famous character because everyone watched Svengoolie all the time. But he was the male Elvira. Yeah.
And it's all it is. He talked about movies, made jokes about them.
Yeah.
Recapped.
Was a host.
A horror movie host.
Yeah, but it was a little more low budget.
Yeah. So, and we get a little bit of that now. So apparently, Svengoolie, the second, because there was the original, and then in the 70s a new one came in and took over. I'm an expert on Svengoolie thanks to the letter at the back of this book, which is why we always read the letters at the back of the book. You always read the stuff, Watchmen specifically. So this is the story of Svengoolie on his show, and he has 3 sidekicks: a rubber chicken, a coffin, and the other one is, oh my god, what is the other one? Oh, a skull, a talking skull with a mustache. And there is a scientist who's very mad because he thought that he should have been the host of the show, and his science theme should have been the show, and he's like, oh, I'm a evil scientist, I should have been like the guy that hosted this, I'm going to take over. So he builds a robot called the Svenbot, and he sends it back in time. This is what it looks like when you go back in time, apparently, or according to the book, when you want to save on printing cost. But so he sends him back in time to do the different things that he needs to do to stop Svengoolie from having his sidekicks, because that is what makes Svengoolie actually funny, because nobody actually thinks Svengoolie is funny otherwise. And so that ends up working, hijinks. They end up taking over the show, and then the robot immediately is like, well, I could be without you, and I could do a better job without you. And so the robot takes over and gets diva personality very quickly. And so the mad scientist and Svengoolie have to team up to now stop the robot to get Svengoolie his show back. And more crazy hijinks ensue, and it's just completely comedy. Like Matt said, you're talking low budget TV show, and now we're writing a comic book about a low budget TV show. So you're supposed to laugh, and it's all cheesy jokes. And then we get Nostalgia Ratu. which is a part of the show. This is something that also connects to the Svengoolie show, a character on that. And so we get a little one-shot backup of him and him telling you, like, if you want to see more of me, watch Svengoolie on MeTV, which is a thing that is still happening in the Chicagoland area. So if you, if you still want, not to be confused with MeTV here, which is Manatee Educational Television, no, but MeTV in Chicago is still happening, and that is where you watch this show.
Did you not have MeTV?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I never saw Svengoolie in my life.
I just figured MeTV was like the cable version, because Svengoolie was on like WGN.
Yeah.
In like the late night hour.
Yeah.
On like Fridays or Saturday. But then MeTV was like a cable that played like I Love Lucy, Nick at Night.
Yeah, it was Nick at Night kind of stuff, which I saw that in here and ad in here. But no, I never had MeTV. I just had Nick at Night.
Okay.
So.
I know MeTV. I thought that was a national.
I don't know. Maybe it is, because I mean they got an ad for it for everybody. But it does say find out how to watch MeTV.com, like at MeTV.com. So I guess you do need to look it up. But they have Saturday morning cartoons now, and then there's
they have that on there.
Nice. And then they've got, well, nobody else has Saturday morning cartoons, which is why I said that. And then there's like Svengoolie collectibles and stuff too there. But yeah. So it's really fun, even if you don't know Svengoolie, but I did, like I said, it's fun to see the origin story of the guy. So there was the original Svengoolie, and then there was a show called Son of Svengoolie, which was the guy that ended up taking over, and eventually the original one was like, you're not a kid anymore, you should just claim the name. And that's how he became the new Svengoolie. Learned a lot. Chicago pro. Someday people are never going to know that I didn't come from Chicago. Savage Squad 6, issue 1 from Dark Horse Comics. This is what if 90s comics had starred all, like, kick-butt female characters and who actually had clothes on. That's what this is. It feels totally like that. This is the story of a squad of girls who live in a world where, what do they call the things that happen? The Scourge. The Scourge has taken over. And so these savage squads are forming to try to stop the Scourge from taking over the entire world. And this particular squad is like female furies. They go everywhere and they destroy everything. And they kind of have your like Rambo, like Predator, like all those 80s movies, like team up kind of things going for them, but female version. And in this issue they have picked up a new doctor, because prior to the series starting there was a doctor on their team and something happened to them, and so they've got this new girl who doesn't know anything about being out in the field and has never experienced any of the stuff that they're going to go up against, so they're giving her all a hard time, but like they know they need her at the same time. Anyway, great build up for a team. They are out in the woods and they see this dog, and then suddenly monstrous wild animals attack, and they're like, oh, we have to stop these animals. And then we find out that there's even more stuff to come, and we just, again, one of those books where at the end I wanted to yell Wolverines, like, because I feel like we're just going against all of the bad guys, like in this really cool like group of people. But yeah, so if you're looking for that like story, but you want to see like a really strong group of girls take it on, this is a great one for you. And I was like, do I know this squad already? And then I was like, no, those are all girls. Like, where did they come from? I want to know their story. Up next, that's rattling. Okay. We have Panya, the Mummy's Curse, issue 1 from Dark Horse, and this is part of your Hellboy universe. And this is the story of a young girl who lives in ancient Egypt, and she is learning about the different gods before the gods that they currently worship, and they're like, no, you can't learn these things, like you can't listen to these stories, you can't get invested in that, like we only believe in the one, like this one god now, the Aten, and you cannot start going back into this. And she's like, well, I like these gods more and I want to learn about them. And she lives in the palace and area, and she's connected. Like, I think her dad is the priest for this new god, and the pharaoh wants to start a new project. He's like, I'm going to take this power and I'm going to actually put it into me, and I'm going to live with it, and everybody's going to worship me, and I'm going to be able to actually speak for the god. And she's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And there's all this talk about like possibly sacrificing some of the children. And she gets a cat, and the cat starts protecting her, which is what cats are for. And as we build up towards the second half of the book, I don't even want to show you because it gets really crazy, and I'm so invested in this character already. Like, what all the stuff this little girl's doing, it's one of those where I was like, no, don't turn that corner. No, don't do that. Oh my God, are they going to catch her? Oh my God. Like, she just wants to like be a happy little girl and play and live her life, but like, it's so dangerous, and I'm like freaking out for her on every page. And so I'm already completely invested in this little girl's life, and I'm in, and some big stuff happens at the end of the issue, and she might end up being more special than we even knew going into the beginning. So can't wait to figure out what the mummy's curse is on poor little Panya. We've got the return of the Lonesome Hunters with the Wolf Child, issue 1, also from Dark Horse Comics. This was one of those series last year, I think last summer actually, where we were really, really excited when it first came out, and I'm so happy to see that it's back. I didn't even know it was coming back until 4 weeks ago when I did the order, so I was very excited. But this is the story of a man who, when he was a young boy, his dad specifically was involved in a cult, and they awakened some demons and some things that they shouldn't have. And they used a sword, basically was given to them to try to stop any of these things that would come. And he ended up being like the lone survivor and the one that was supposed to take on this quest forever. And because of that, he's now like 140-year-old man because he can't die because he has this quest. And in volume 1, he has hidden from this quest forever. He's never done anything with it, and he ends up meeting a young girl who is being attacked by creatures that are from the world that he's supposed to be hiding from, that he doesn't want to be encountered by. And he is now drawn back into it, and as volume 1 went on, him and this young girl partnered up together and have been on a crazy adventure. We've seen a lot of really dark and gruesome things, and now their adventure continues in this book, and they are being followed by a young boy or girl, I guess I should say, who's in a wolf mask, and leads us towards whatever our next adventure is going to be. And we do see the return of this cult and where that could be leading us as the story unfolds. And so this is not one where if you did not read volume 1, you can jump in. I always tell you, oh, you'll probably be okay on a lot of them where I'm like, they kind of do a recap. This one, you're going to jump in and you're going to be lost if you didn't read volume 1. So grab volume 1 in trade paperback form. It's not until like almost 2/3 of the way through the book where they start to give you a little bit of a recap. And even then, if I didn't know what it was, I'd probably be like, do I know what this is? So grab volume 1. You need to read that in order to understand this volume 2. But I know we have some single issues and we have trade paperbacks of number 1. So if you shop here, you can definitely get those. If not, talk to your store before you try to jump into that. Still Siege, number 1, new Battle Quest comic. I like Battle Quest because they try not to launch a new title before like the one previously is over or like coming close to the end, so we don't have too many crazy like like, which Battle Quest comic is this coming out? So I like that they do that for being a small press. They kind of focus on each book, especially because Drew and Justin do a lot of the books themselves, which they are the leaders at Battle Quest, and they do a lot of the books themselves. So it's really cool. This is your mech story. It's kind of your Transformers and things like that, but it's got some epic battle scenes. And like I said, it's got a big mech battle kind of situation happening in this. We see worlds that are destroyed and the need to bring those worlds back together, and it's like starts with somebody who is trying to do just that, who's trying to find those resources and trying to get away, and they end up having to escape out of their ship because they get attacked and land in the middle of a world that's under siege, and they have to get into this mech suit and try to make it through this world that is under there and being attacked. And we learn, and I'll actually show you that page, we learn upon that opening that the person piloting that ship and that mech is actually a young kid. And they're like, what do we do? Like, we're in this battle, we don't trust these people, but now they sent a kid. Like, we can't really attack a kid, can we? And they're like, absolutely, like, this is war. And so this kid ends up meeting somebody who's like, I'm not going to do this. I have to help this kid. And they are kind of working their way through this. And we're going to see, like, can this kid get back? Is there any hope for this planet? Is there hope for their planet? Is there an into this war that we can find? And so we're getting that nice team up aspect of these two people as they're leading us down the path of what is actually going on and where this is going to take us. And I'm really excited because they always give us really big worlds at Battle Quest, and so I can't wait to see how they build it out. And they always give us these really all-star teen heroes that can come in and just accomplish big things. My girl G. Willow Wilson is back with a new book, and I am so excited. This is The Hunger and the Dusk, issue 1 from the IDW original imprint, and I'm so excited to have G. Willow Wilson back on a book. And I love that they've been using the hashtag Hot Orc Summer as the way to describe this book because it's just hilarious. Like, we're having so many orc books this summer, but this is definitely G. Willow Wilson doing great. This is the story of a couple of kids, and they live in these farmlands. And originally we start a little bit further back in time, and we find out that like they're terrified because orcs are coming, and if the orcs come to their village, like, they're gonna kill them all, and they're very scared. And so they go and they get the elders of the village. And the elders are like, okay, we'll stand up against them. We're ready to fight. And the orcs are like, oh, what are these farmers going to stand against us? And both the farm people and the orcs end up dead. And neither are killed by the other. And we don't know what it is that killed them. We just know that it's like it's you kind of thing. And then we fast forward to the future, and we see a young boy who's grown up. And he's a part of the humans who are now having to build an alliance with these orcs. And they're all meeting at this center point, and they are talking about whatever it is that this bad thing is that's coming for them. And they've all kind of said, like, you know, we're not really, like, wanting to build this alliance, but we have to because there's something worse than all of us out there. And no matter what, we have to stand together. And as the sun starts to set, whatever this darkness is comes before them again, and this giant attack happens. And I don't want to show you them, so I'm not going to show you the back half of the book, but alliances are formed and lines are drawn and things are happening, and you've got a cool epic fantasy starting up, but you also have G. Willow Wilson, who takes all of those elements and tells you the greatest stories ever, every time. I'm so excited to see what she's going to do with this. If you have ever read G. Willow Wilson, Miss Marvel, her Wonder Woman, any of her independent stuff, you know, she's just fantastic. So you want to grab that. Everything she does is beautiful. Up next, we have Antarctica, issue 1 from Image and the Top Cow imprint. I had no idea what to expect with this. Matt, did you end up reading it? I saw you pulled it for your staff.
No, I never got to.
Okay.
I was busy.
Yeah, I really didn't know what to expect with this, but there's one thing that is terrifying to me, and it's dark cold. Like,
that's why I pulled it.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you're gonna send me to a world that's dark and cold. I'm out. But this starts with a girl who, her dad is an explorer, and so I love the progression of this page on my left hand, where you see her grow older, and every time she's like, my dad came home from his adventures, and just watching her grow older as they tell the story of how eventually, like, he doesn't, and she kind of just becomes somebody who, like, puts herself on the street. She's like, oh, I'm a street urchin, like, I didn't have anything to look forward to, there was no point in anything. And then she meets somebody who's like, hey, you have to think better of yourself than that, and she kind of gets this second chance. And she doesn't necessarily use that initially properly, but then something happens to him, and she's like, okay, I owe it to all of these people who have been a part of my life to, like, actually make something of myself. And so she decides she's gonna go and become an engineer and be the only person who can, like, fix certain things, and that leads her on this adventure that takes her to Antarctica, which is the last place she really knows that her dad was. And so she's like, hey, maybe this will lead me back to him. Maybe he's still here. Maybe there's something I can learn about him. And the second half of the book is all giant filled with spoilers, because what happens when she gets to Antarctica is definitely our setup for this story. And who would have thought? I didn't think that's where we were going. And if you want to know why I didn't think that, come read the book. Go grab it. But I'm sure this is going to be filled with lots of dark, cold things that I don't want to know. But there's even more than that to come from this. And I think this is going to end up being a really crazy book as it unfolds. So grab Antarctica if you are just looking for something completely possibly crazy and wonderful all at the same time. Under the Influence, number 1 from Mad Cave. Another book that was not what I thought it was going to be at all. This is the story of how social media is essentially a cult, and people we talk about people getting cult followings all the time, and, like, what does that actually entail? This is a very different version of World Tree, honestly, and it starts with some social media influencers convincing kids to do a hot dog challenge. And this hot dog challenge is to, like, break into a gas station and steal hot dogs. And something extremely tragic happens to one of the kids that's doing it. And people are like, hey, like, when do we start actually having the conversation about, like, what's going on here? And the fact that, like, people just listen to anything on social media, and all the media with the capital M starts talking about it, the fourth estate. And then so does the government. And so the government ends up bringing in one of their agents, and they're like, hey, like, you're a social media person, you're young, you're hip, you don't seem like an agent, like, we need to send you undercover to do this job. And she's like, I don't want to do it. And they're like, look, you need to do it because we think that a cult is forming out of this, and we need to start talking about the cult-like reaction to social media that people are having, and we need to start looking at those influencers in that way, and you have the background for that. And she's like, okay, like, I'll take it on, but, like, I have my rules and things like that. And so she ends up going undercover at this university, and it's everybody there has this weird, like, social media influence. Like, they're all like, oh, well, I'm, like, an influencer. And, like, then weird stuff starts happening at the quad. And she starts trying to find, like, the kid that is the person who's kind of, like, the leader behind this hot dog challenge and stuff. And it got deep and it got crazy like really fast in this book. And Mad Cave has been extremely stepping up their game over the last year, and this is definitely one of those books that is just continuing to elevate like what they're putting out. I'm really excited about where this book is going to go. It surprised me every turn. Again, didn't really think that's what this book was going to be about. And then seeing it go a little bit more, this is kind of like Vault's mind game mixed with Image's World Tree. Like if you put those or mindset, not mind game, mindset and World Tree, if you mix those two together, you're going to kind of get under the influence. And I'm really excited to see where this one goes. This was honestly, this could have been a pick of the week, and everything I'm going to talk about from here until picks of the week could have been a pick of the week. So or at least most of them. Con and On, issue 1 from Ahoy Comics. And honestly, this could have just been a pick of the week because I find myself a very happy person when I'm at a convention, and always have. And this is the story of 2 young people who are going to their first ever convention, and a perfectly timed book. And it is in 1992, and they're freaking out because they say that the convention is going to be 20,000 people. And it's like, oh my God, can you imagine 20,000 people who also like nerd stuff? And I was like, oh my God, can you imagine when we thought 20,000 people was like the largest convention ever? Like, and yet it's so amazing, like, to know that there's that many people, 20,000 people that love what you love. But these 2 kids who are the main characters, they're both very excited to go for different reasons. And one of them is kind of extroverted, and he is like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And he ends up meeting people and instantly like leaving behind his friend who wants to be an artist. And she's like, I just want to figure out how to like get my panel, like my stuff reviewed and see if anybody would be interested in it. And so they have this pact that they're going to spend all day together. And then of course they end up spending the days completely separate from each other. And they each have their own experiences, and one of them is like, oh, this isn't going the way I want, and then she has like these beautiful moments. And it's just, if you're somebody who has spent a lot of time at conventions, this book has the same feelings, all good, bad, the beautiful and the ugly that a convention has. Is such a wonderful book for me, as somebody who the last 15 years of my life essentially has been dedicated to this industry, and whether that is as a cosplayer or a con promoter or the comic store owner. I've been in this industry for so long now, and so much of this it just resonated so much. And to read it I read it on Wednesday, and then of course we found out on Thursday that we were going to San Diego, and I was like, this just such a perfectly timed book. And I also just read a great novel that was about people who met at a Comic-Con. So it was such a beautiful book for me, and I cannot wait because it's not a one shot, so I can't wait to see. It's going to go to different time periods in like con history, essentially, and I'm going to probably cry on all of them. Mashbone and Grifty, issue 1 from Scout. This is also part of the Chispa line, that Latinx line that I mentioned earlier. This is a ridiculous book. This is we haven't had a Chispa humor book yet. You know, we have our horror book with Katrina's Caravan, and we have our slice of life with Thanks for Mina, and we have our what adventure, I guess you can say, with the Black Demon Tales. This is kind of like our ridiculous comedy book, and it is so that it falls perfectly in with so much of what Scout does. But this is these 2 ridiculous people, Mashbone and Grifty, who are like, we need to make money we're going to start a detective service. That's what we're going to do, because we need to pay our bar tab. And so anybody in this bar that needs us to solve a problem for you, we're here for you. And a guy comes in who's like, they stole I'm going to say chicken. That's not the word he uses, but you can figure out what the joke actually is by me saying that. Like, they stole his rooster, I guess, is a great way for you to figure out what he says. And they're like, haha, that's our guy. And then you get the puns for like 3 pages where they don't know what he's talking about because they think he's talking about the other word and he's talking about a chicken. But it turns out that this guy has been was supposed to be the person who trained roosters for fights, for chicken fights. And he decided that he really loved one of the chickens and he didn't want it to fight because he didn't want anything to happen to it. And now the gang members, essentially, that he's been raising these chickens for have stolen his chicken and are after him. And these guys are like, we can solve this problem. We're on the case. And it's just ridiculous, over the top, the kind of stuff you almost expect from the Scout humor books at this point, like the Kyle Starks kind of humor, Rick and Morty almost-esque storytelling you're gonna get from this book. But I love it because there's a scene where when they start their investigations, they just use SpongeBob and Patrick walkie-talkies because they can't afford like real headsets or anything like that. And so one of them is sitting in the trash can while the other one goes into the bar and is supposed to be doing the investigation. But the one sitting in the trash can starts talking and he's telling the guy that what they're going to do. And he's sitting on the walkie-talkie. So of course the whole plan is being revealed to like the gang members at the bar. It's a mess. If you want to laugh a lot, read this book. It's great. It's really, really funny. And then last new book that, again, could have easily been a pick of the week. And honestly, I just tried to narrow down my picks of the week because I put 4 in there and was like, I cannot put any more in there. But put it wherever you want, Matt. I don't care because we have Fish Flies, #1 from Jeff Lemire and Image Comics. And I'm always going to say that Jeff Lemire is the pick of the week. So that's why I was like, okay, you all know that I love Jeff Lemire. But this book is square bound, for one. I'm going to turn it that way so you can see that. So you know that you're getting an oversized book. And Matt and I both read the letter at the back where Jeff said that in the end this will be 350 pages of story. This is going to be a massive book. And so it's going to go from single issues to hardcover because it is going to be a tomb of story. But it's Fish Flies. There was a free comic book day. So if you're not sure if you want to jump in on it, come grab the free comic book day book and check it out. And then grab the #1 from there. But Fish Flies are these disgusting fly things that actually do come out in a lot of places. Did you guys get them in Wisconsin? Okay, I wasn't sure because the places he was describing, I was like, I wonder if they had them. They're these really almost dragonfly-esque size flies that would overtake the area and overtake like the way crickets overtake the South.
And we never had that.
Yeah, I said that it's the South. We had them. And this is the story. It starts with these kids who are like daring another kid to walk across them barefoot to go into a gas station, and some bad things happen in this gas station, and then we wake up with a guy in a field who is covered in fish flies and fish fly bites, and he has a gun and he's bleeding, and this little girl takes him in, a little girl named Franny, and she takes him in and shows him to her barn and is like, hey, like, I can help you. I can get you patched up. Maybe I can get you some medicine. He's like, I don't feel good. And she's like, oh, well, that happens. Like, she's so dry. I really just love this character because she's just like, okay. And her thing is, like, she's the snotty kid in class. So she always has, like, this snot thing hanging down from her face. Here's a good picture of Franny. But, yeah, she's just like, okay. Like, well, my dad's going to come home at this time, so you might not want to be right there, but, like, I'm happy to have you here, help you out, because she just needs a friend, because everybody's mean to Franny. And it's so great. I cannot wait to see where this book goes, because I'm not going to show you where this book goes, because you have to read it. And just know that Jeff Lemire has never let me down, and he did not let me down again in this book, and it's wonderful, and I can't wait for you to read it, and you just call it a pick of the week. You can just call it, I mean, Jeff Lemire is always pick of the week, but you can just call this one too. It's so good, and monstered up, get crazy, and it's not a part of the Bone Orchard world. In the same way that I feel it necessary to tell you when Kyle Higgins writes something, it's not necessarily a part of the Massiveverse. This is not in the Bone Orchard mythos. So this doesn't connect to his Sorrentino stuff. This is Jeff Lemire all on his own, doing art, lettering. I think he's doing lettering too. He usually does when he's on his own. Yeah. No, he's got Steve Wands on lettering this time. But he's doing art and writing and everything else, coloring, all that on his own, so...
Said it's a little more of a personal book for him too.
Yeah.
Which is intriguing.
Something he's wanted to do. He said he was thinking about it a lot when he was writing May's book, which is crazy because, like, the fact that you could think about anything else while writing May's book blows my mind because May's book was just beautiful. The fact that your mind had this and May's book in it at the same time blows mine. So, Jeff Lemire, expect me to ask you lots of questions when I see you next week because I need to. I have so many questions about how your brain works. All right, so we got some more books that I love.
Picks of the week.
Picks of the week. Again, I told you could just throw fish flies in picks of the week.
On the cusp.
It was there. I just felt like I had too many. I didn't know how many. I never know how many I should actually call. If it was up to me, they'd almost all be picks of the week, and that would be terrible. So I try to limit it to 4 or less. And so when I hit 4, I stop. But we've got, so yes, whatever. We're at Picks of the Week. We Wicked Ones, issue 2 from Scout Comics. You know me, I am a huge fan of Black Magic by Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott, and I shed a tear every day when I go to sleep for the hiatus that it's on once again. And this is the moment that this book is the book that soothes my soul while I have to wait for Black Magic to be on hiatus. No, it's so fantastic. This is the story of 2 witches, and in this world we've seen that in issue 1 we kind of learned that magic is dwindling and it's hard to pass on. Magic isn't accepted in this world, and so these 2 witches they have a young one in their life that they are trying to pass the magic on to, and so they have to actually give of their own magic to this young one. But we also find out that one of them has been working as an assassin essentially for different people, and one of them is just trying to live her life with her kid and her husband and trying to, like, I'm a witch, but, like, I'm not practicing in any way. Well, in this issue, we learn that there was an organization called FIRE, and basically it's a government organization that thinks that witchcraft is wrong and it's against the universal religion, whatever that may be, and they need to get rid of all these witches, and that kind of has been disbanded over the time. But now, with the death of someone in the world, they have decided that they need to find out what's going on with witches again, and they come after one of our 2 main characters, and some really, like, crazy things happen. Some stuff gets tragic in this issue, and we're gonna see some vindictive witches getting even, hopefully. But it's such a beautiful story. I love the artwork. I love the storytelling style. I love these 2 characters. There was a big delay between issue 1 and issue 2, so a lot of people were like, oh, let me know if it actually starts up again. And so I wanted to bring it into my picks of the week again and just kind of say, like, hey, this book is still really good. You may have forgotten about it because it has been so long since issue 1 came out. But, like, oh my God, you need to pick it up and check it out. And again, if you're a fan of Black Magic, there's not the detective story in this. Instead of a detective story, you're getting the other end. You're getting kind of an assassin story with it. But you're still getting that, like, 2 interconnected witches who love each other. as best friends and want to be there for each other in every capacity, and just the connection pieces of that, and the magical history, and it goes so deep so fast. The amount of lore that I already know, I feel like this is, like, if you told me this was volume like 3 of this book on issue 2, I would believe you, because the lore was already so deep in issue 2 that I was like, wow, I've been reading this for 10 years. And it's like, no, I haven't. This is issue 2. I actually haven't even read issue 1 in like 6 months. So, like, wow, that was so good. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. And those covers are gorgeous. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Sirens of the City, issue 1 from Boom Studios. You're going to see a trend. I like magical girls. Deal with it. And I like magic in the real world. That's also the case. And in Sirens of the City, it starts out in the 80s. I guess it takes place in the 80s, into the 80s. And it's about a young girl who was a foster kid. And she finds herself pregnant. And her family kicks her out, not because she's pregnant, but because of something that happens whenever she loses control of her emotions. And she is on the street as a runaway, and she doesn't want to connect with the baby daddy. Like, she wants nothing to do with him. And she ends up meeting up with a new person, and he takes her into like this underground bar, and he's like, let me I'll take you around, I'll introduce you to some people. And so she ends up going there, and we learn that there is a completely different world underground. There is one of my favorite types of young adult literature is urban fantasy, where we take magical creatures and we put them in big cities. And this does that so well. If you're a fan of like Mortal Instruments, that's a big one in that realm. And you know, we've got that, and we have that young teenage girl who doesn't know that she is a magical creature, and she doesn't know what's happening to her. But her boyfriend's friends do. They're like, oh boy, you got yourself a siren. Like, that's why you're in love with her. Like, that's why you can't do it. And she doesn't even know. And so we're seeing a lot of people kind of come to terms figuring out who she is, and she doesn't know yet. And she's kind of trying to figure out what she's going to do about being homeless and being pregnant. And such a great setup for a story. Like, by the end of issue 1, again, I was like, wow, I know so much about these characters. I know so much about where they're coming from. I know so much about this world. And we're going to make a lot of big moves and a lot of big points with this. This is exactly what you expect out of Boom Studios. Like, when you read Boom books, this is one of those Boom books that you're like, oh, I would have guessed that's who put it out, like, when I read it. It's so good. It's so fantastic. And I love the spot coloring as a way to show different people's powers and different people's different elemental controls that they have. So, Sirens of the City, check it out. Up next, Midnight Western Theater is back with a new series. This is Witch Trial. This is issue 1 from Scout Comics. I mentioned this on the Live 5 this week, but if you haven't heard the news, Midnight Western Theater was optioned not that long ago, I believe, for a TV show. And this is taking us back in time. So Midnight Western Theater follows a young woman and a young man who are both, one is immortal and one is essentially a vampire. And they are traveling through the Old West, and we see them kind of forced to can take out bad guys throughout the Old West and deal with things. This takes us back to the very beginning, and we kind of see what happened to Ortanasia. I can never say her name. Ortanasia. When she became the born-again girl or the immortal girl, depending on how you want to say it. And she is our main character, who I'm obsessed with, from Midnight Western Theater. And we see that backstory for her, and then we kind of see a little bit of her growing up. But we're going to see the people who raised her. And so this is Witch Trial because it actually shows the witch woman who took her in and treated her like a daughter and began to raise her. And we're gonna see Ortanasia as she grows up and how she became a part of this new mythological world, and learn a little bit about her backstory that we didn't get at all in Midnight Western Theater. We're already like way into her immortal life, and this is a good backstory. We've got a plague doctor in here, which I'm always in when you throw in a plague doctor. We got witches, we got this immortal girl, we got the demons that are after her. Such a good book. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to see what they do with Midnight Western Theater as they bring it to life. So if you haven't picked it up, this is one that you could start here. If you didn't read Midnight Western Theater, that's okay, because it does start at the beginning of our character. So it actually almost would be beneficial to start here. But if you already read Midnight Western Theater, there's a lot of Easter eggs where like people show up in it and you're like, I know who that is. They're going to come back later on. I see what you're doing there. So you get your Easter eggs for those of us who have read it. But for those who haven't, you get a good starting point.
Is that Peach Momoko cover?
Nope. No, it's not. It's Julianne Gripe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very
Momoko.
Follow that artist.
Seriously, with how big Peach Momoko got, you should definitely
Hold that up.
You should definitely look up Julianne Gripe. Griepp.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a lot more from that person soon. And then lastly, Something Epic's out this week. So Something Epic is in my picks of the week. This is issue 3 of Something Epic. Just so you know, next month's issue 4 is going to have an Indiana Jones homage cover because they all have a movie homage.
Does that come out in a week? It comes out weekly.
No,
it doesn't come out weekly?
No, it's been like a month since the last one. But this is from Image Comics. This has been such a good book. Oh my God. This is the story of a young boy who can see the world that nobody else can. He sees the things that we imagine. He sees them come to life. And a very Last Action Hero kind of storytelling where he is able to see that mythical world around us, imaginary world around us as if it was real. And in issue 1, we learned that he's got, oh my God, so cool. He's got some tragedy before him because his mother has just been diagnosed with cancer, and we know that death is imminent. And he's kind of falling further into his imaginary world over issue 1 and 2. And in issue 3, his mom is like, I'm not going to last much longer. And as I get closer to death, I can hear all of the things that you told me were real. I can hear all those characters. I can hear everything you've talked about. I can't see them, but I know that they're there. And I want you to show me the world the way you see it, because I know that it's real. And so in this issue, he's showing his mom the world the way he sees it, and she's able to envision his world with him for just a second. And it's such a beautiful story. And then the second half of the book takes a different turn and sets up, I'm going to show you this as the last page, sets up where we're going to go from here with his life and what's going to happen and how it's all going to come into play. And I always say, your imagination is either going to be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. And I think we're going to see both of those things come to play for this young kid in an epic story. For sure. But I love the mixed media. I love the different kinds of illustration. This has been, it's such a phenomenal concept to take those things and put them in that, I always say, I compare it to Last Action Hero, which we had a Last Action Hero homage cover this time, which was great, because it did that. But using the comic medium in that way, it was such a great idea that I can't believe that we don't see more books that really do that, like Page Master, Last Action Hero, all those kinds of different things. It's so great. And then just to see what happens when your imagination goes beyond you, and when you do lose control over those things, it's just going to be beautiful. And if you are going to grab this book, just know that the last panel of issue 1 is the back cover. So don't look at the back cover until you're ready to read it. But good, it's so great. And another one of those books where it's writer, artist, like letterer. The only thing I believe he's not doing is translating it, because it's not written in English. Yeah. Created, written, illustrated. He's not doing lettering. He is not doing lettering, but he's doing everything but translation and lettering. Such a beautiful book. Please pick it up. It's issue 3. That's the turn and of comics almost every time, and this was the turn for sure. And it's gonna go in some great places. So and some, I'm gonna cry. I say it every time we talk about something epic. I'm going to cry all of the issues every time until this is over, because it's such a good book. All right, so we've got some in-stock books coming your way. We've got Liquid Kill issue 6, and it says final installment of, but this is not. This is not the final installment. I read this book. There's still more to come, but this is from Whatnot Publishing. But this cool Kill Bill homage cover. Whatnot always has the cool homages, for sure. Rocketeer is back this week with In the Den of Thieves #1 from IDW. We've got Star Trek Defiant issue 5. Lord of the Jungle issue 6. We had a little bit of delay between the last one and this one, but it's back with those Tarzan stories for you. Rick and Morty Heart of Rickness issue 1 from Omni Press. Wild Cats issue 9, still going strong. And look at these cool Blue Beetle covers on the back. Getting ready for that movie. Can't wait. Night Terrors continues this week with the actual release of Night Terrors #1, as well as Night Terrors Robin #1, and Night Terrors Green Lantern #1, and my favorite, so excited that she's got a title with her name on it. Don't care if it's only 2 issues long. Night Terrors Zatanna. Good God. Give us a Zatanna series, DC. I'm going to say it every day until it happens. Red Goblin issue 6. We've got Spirit World issue 3. We got more Night Terrors and Shazam. Poor Mary. Poor Mary Marvel. Groot issue 3. We've got Warlock Rebirth issue 4. We've got Scarlet Witch issue 6. I love her, and I love how she's kind of sort of almost happy in this series. Web of Carnage issue 1 coming out of your Cult of Carnage. We've got Fallen Friend, the death of Miss Marvel. I know you all have probably already seen what's going to be coming up for Miss Marvel. Let your comic shop know if you're going to want that Miss Marvel series that was just announced. It's going to change everything for Miss Marvel. You got to let them know, or they're not going to order it for you. And no, tell them now, because orders happen fast. Rogue and Gambit issue 5. This is X-Men, Immortal X-Men 13. We've got X-Force issue 42. We've got X-Men Days of Future Past Doomsday issue 1 with this Hellfire Gala variant. See, this Hellfire looks this year are Hellfire. They are so good. We've got The World's Finest Teen Titans issue 1. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meets Stranger Things. So there's some teenagers doing some crazy things all together. We also have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles annual, which is out of time. We've got Star Wars Darth Vader with this Admiral Akbar cover. Beautiful moment. Superman Lost issue 5. Halfway through that series. We got Miles Morales issue 8 and his Hellfire Gala look. He's got a stamp that says he's waitlisted, so I guess that means he's not getting invited to the Hellfire Gala. Planet of the Apes issue 4. Moon Knight hit issue 25. I love this cool cover. There's also a really cool Werewolf by Night cover. This is a nice square bound Moon Knight. Get your oversized square bound Moon Knight issue. Loki issue 2. Not to be confused with the fact that there is What If Dark Loki number 1. Starting out those What If Darks coming your way. Multiversity Harley screws up the DCU. Issue 5. Oh my god, we're already on 5. Harley just messing things up left and right. The Flash, 791. That might be the old one. I don't think that's the new Flash. I think that's the old Flash. Unstoppable Doom Patrol, issue 4. Batman Incorporated, issue 10. And Danger Street, issue 7. What's that? Oh, I was like, you made a face.
Who put that out? Is that a Marvel?
That's DC. Oh. Yeah, that's your Lady Cop book. And then we got a bunch of trades in stock. For those that need to check out Lonesome Hunters Volume 1, we've got it right here. This is the whole first volume from Dark Horse. We've got new trades out this week from Clover Press. We've got their Tragedy of Macbeth. Oh my god, can I show you the inside of this crazy thing? It's all black and white and super dark. Because how else do you tell the Tragedy of Macbeth other than... And it's this,
is this an updated?
No. This is actually the Shakespearean text. This is... It even credits Shakespeare as the writer. And then gives you your artist name. So, holy cow. This is great. It's so dark and perfect. We've got Arca, which is the new IDW original graphic novel out this week. Society crumbled, but billionaires had an escape. And Arca, the vessel equipped with life's luxuries maintained by teenagers forced to exchange their childhood for the promise of wealth and freedom on their 18th birthday. Great story. Check it out. When the world burned, the rich had a plan for themselves. Basically, tagline. Nemesis Reloaded, if you're getting ready for big game coming out, I think this week, actually. But if you're getting ready for it, you're going to need to know about Nemesis in his reloaded version from Mark Millar. Also out this week is Kate Kelly's Action Journalism. I love this book. This is what if Lois Lane was actually like, didn't have a Superman and just did everything on her own. It's so great. It's so fun. You got to check it out. I brought a couple of the Eisner nominees with me because everybody always asks me what books should I read, what should I grab if I want to know about like the hottest books of the year. Who knows better than the Eisners on what some of those options should be. So Human Target, this is the first half of the series from Tom King, who's nominated for about 7 awards for this book. So you should check it out. It's so good, and the art is amazing on it. And if you want to see the inside, we will open up the plastic for you. We don't care. Animal Castle, like I said, nominated. This is that volume 1. Plus, you just need to read this book because it's fantastic. So come grab volume 1 of Animal Castle immediately. Public Domain from Chip Zdarsky. So good. Let's just recap what has happened between Jack Kirby and Stan Lee in the comic industry. That's really what this book does. Let's give them kids and let's make them comic creators themselves right now. This is what this is. And it's great. Creep Show is nominated for Best Anthology this year, and I'm really excited to get more people on to Creep Show. This was such a great idea of Skybound and Robert Kirkman to bring this back, and we had such a great lineup. Like Paul Dini was on it, Frank Avila, Kyle Starks. Oh, so good. Love Everlasting also nominated. Tom King just nominated everywhere, and I love this book. If you know me, you know I love this book. And this is actually, we just got this back in stock because I'm obsessed with it. And of course, James Tynion and Nice House on the Lake are always nominated for everything. So this is volume 2, but we did just get volume 1s back in stock, so we have both 1 and 2. If you need to pick up that entire series, here you go. We also have copies of The Atonement Bell. which is nominated for Best Limited Series. So if you want to jump onto that and grab that, it's all wrapped up. You can get the whole series in that, and that's nominated for Best New Series at the Eisners as well. Speaking of people nominated for an Eisners, once again, thank you so much to all of our Bat fam and the entire industry that's been a part of voting for the fact that Bat City is a finalist. We won't be here Thursday through Sunday because we will be at San Diego Comic-Con for the Eisner Awards to see if we are the best store in the world. But either way, we know that we have the best customers in the world and the best followers and the best friends and the best amazing, most wonderful people, and we're so happy to be a part of this entire world. So thank you and the best job. We can honestly say we have the best job in the world. Even though we won't be here those days, we will be here Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. There will obviously be no Wind Down Your Weekend next Sunday because we'll be at San Diego Comic-Con. And then when we get back on Wednesday the 26th is $1 book club. So make sure you stop in this Wednesday and get your copy of Descender #1. That is our $1 book club book. If you already have it, you do not need to buy it. It is free to come join the book club at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, July 26th. Other than that, if you do need it, it's only $1. Jump in, and this is the only issue we're going to read, so grab a copy so you can be prepared for that. And then the end of the month, the 29th, Saturday the 29th is our next Story Spelunkers meeting. So if you've got kids who you want to help with their reading, get them excited about books, bring them out to our Story Spelunkers for our next book club for kids. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support. And until I see you again, happy reading, everyone. Bye.